I was once a film critic here in Vancouver years ago, well, 16 years ago, on radio. It was a video review show, VHS. There were no DVDs back then. Anyway, I thought I'd do a movie review vlog, just to see how it works. And if people like it, I might do some others. People like my one subscriber. One! Come on, people! I'm not feeling any love here. Well, last night I had the pleasure of watching Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan, which has just come out on DVD. Firstly, I have to comment on the DVD's packaging, which is entirely written in Kazakhstani. Or is that Kazakhstanish? I'm not sure which is correct. At least I assume that's the language, but not being a scholar of these things, it could be made up. Well, anyway, there's not a word of English on the cover, except for the small print on the back about the film's ratings and its credits. I thought this was pretty clever and funny, and since I didn't see the movie in the theater, the cover definitely sets you on the road for what's about to come. By the way, the DVD itself looks like a bootleg copy with the title written out like it was done with a Sharpie pen. More clever. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the long explanation about the plot, because there really isn't one, and I'm thinking many of you have probably seen this movie already, as it was a pretty big hit in North America, and took in over $250 million worldwide. This is a mockumentary, created by British comedian Sacha Baron Cohen, who apparently is very well known in Britain for another wacky character named Ali G. But that's another movie. Baron Cohen plays the Borat of the title, a well-meaning but completely uncouth Kazakhstani television reporter who is sent to America to create a documentary about life in America to bring back to Kazakhstan. Well, for make benefit glorious nation of Kazakhstan. The film opens with a highly satirical look at life in Borat's little Kazakhstan village. We meet various characters like the town mechanic, who also doubles as the town abortionist, Borat's sister, who is the award-winning #4 prostitute in town and has a trophy to prove it. We also meet his little bull of a wife, who insists that Borat not go to America and that he stay home and dig a grave for his mother. His mother is still alive, by the way. Borat is accompanied on his journeys to America by his producer Azamat, who is wonderfully played by an American actor named Ken Davisian, and I hope I pronounced that name right. He's a short and sweaty, extremely overweight, huffy little man who constantly trying to keep tabs on Borat and their ever-dwindling budget. The rest of the cast is made up of real-life Americans, well, with a couple of others that are required to foster one of the subplots, who truly believe that the character of Borat is what he claims to be, a Kazakhstani television host, and they also believe that the camera crew following him around is actually a real documentary crew. One of the first hurdles that Borat has to overcome is cheek kissing. Being from Eastern Europe, it's very common when greeting a man to kiss him on both cheeks. But unfortunately, most Americans don't take kindly to a tall, bizarre man in a rumpled gray suit rushing up to them and trying to shake their hands and kiss both their cheeks, especially on the streets of New York. I'm not going to go through all the bizarre encounters that Borat creates on his journeys, because telling too much would give too much away. And besides, you have to see them to believe them. But I will touch on a couple. On his first night in New York, while sitting alone in his hotel room, he comes across an old episode of Baywatch on TV and falls in love with Pamela Anderson. Suddenly, his trip to New York becomes a grand quest to California, sort of like the Kazakhstani version of Lord of the Rings, with Borat as the hobbits and Azamat as 3 golems rolled into one. Borat, along with Azamat, buys a car. Well, an ice cream truck. They get a deal. And head off on a road trip through the southern USA, where he's booed at a redneck rodeo for singing the Kazakhstan national anthem to the tune of the Star-Spangled Banner, has dinner with a U.S. congressman, and a hilarious and shocking one it is, has a knockdown, drag-out fight with Azamat in a hotel ballroom while both are stark naked. All I can say is this: you have to see it to believe it, and don't eat while watching. Because Azamat is naked, totally naked, and his rolls hang down so low that you can't even see his... well, just watch it and see. Borat also has a boisterous and drunken encounter in a mobile home filled with good old frat boys. Now, this scene became pretty infamous when the frat boys tried to sue the production company for misrepresentation once the film came out, and they realized what jackasses they truly were. But I'm thinking the film probably didn't show them in a light that they hadn't already been turned on many times. They lost their case, by the way. The list of outrageous encounters goes on and on. Some will offend, some will disgust, but most will leave you in stitches. I think that the thing I like best about this movie is that it wasn't poking fun so much as at Kazakhstan, although the Kazakhstani weren't that impressed. What it's really tearing apart is the way of thinking of right-wing Americans, especially those conservative Republicans in the South. Now, look, I'm not here to do some America bashing, but some of the things the real people in this movie have to say about race and culture issues, religion, and gays come out of their mouths. Baron Cohen didn't write the words for them, and the scary part for me was that they actually believe what they say. Just listen closely to what the old cowboy at the rodeo is saying to Borat. Americans seem to think that they are the center of the world and all should bow before them. However, one of the best scenes in the movie is when Borat attempts to hand a baggie full of his own feces to the Southern Belle hostess of a snooty dinner party, and she drags him back into the bathroom to teach him how to wipe his ass. Now, who's teaching who there? I'm not saying that other countries in the world don't have their ultra-conservatives. I mean, the Canada I call home is run by a conservative government. But the U.S. has such a special knack for lording over everyone else. I suppose one of the things that I've noticed about satire in America is that Americans often don't realize that they're laughing at themselves, in a mocking sort of way. I mean, look at the TV series The Simpsons. Americans have been laughing at themselves for years, thinking that they're actually laughing at someone else. Well, to steal a copyright image, this is YouTube after all. A big thumbs up for Borat from me. It's outrageous, rude, crude, and downright fun. Go and rent it, or even better yet, buy a copy and send it to George Bush. Although I borrowed this one.